Hey guys, welcome to the Lean Online September 2018 first Friday coaching video. I'm so excited. I'm really happy because I got a ton of questions, and honestly, I've been doing this program, I would say 2 to 3 times a year. Maybe, yeah, 2 to 3 times a year since for about 3 years, and so several sessions of this, and this is the first time for a coaching video I've gotten so many questions, so I'm really excited. And I'm especially excited because a lot of these things that were questions that were posed by certain people, I think are going to pertain to most of the group, or at least a good portion of the rest of the group. Okay, so I'm going to try to go through everything. I'm going to go through it a little bit quick so that so that it isn't a 10-12 minute video. And please feel free to comment with additional questions or requests for additional information or clarity, or you can DM me if you prefer to do that too. That's fine. But when you guys post, then everybody gets to see it, and everybody gets to. Sometimes it creates sort of a cascade of additional questions, and I want to address as many issues as I can for all of you through this whole process. Okay, so the objectives this week were to get used to drinking water before meals and snacks, water or tea before meals and snacks. And one of the questions was to clarify why. So one of the reasons to do that is to make sure that you're hydrated. Most people don't realize, as mundane as this sounds, a lot of people do not metabolize their food and the nutrients as optimally if they A, don't get enough sleep, and B, don't get proper hydration. The other thing is that if you are not hydrating properly, then you tend to be more vulnerable to urges for foods that are either greasy or have a high water content, partly because that's where you're getting a good deal of your water. So we really don't want you to just consume food because you're thirsty. Let's address the thirst first. Another thing is that the question was, does it fill you up, and is that why? Well, that's sort of a side benefit. It fills you up. So the idea is not to have water when you're actually hungry for food, but if you have water in your stomach before you start eating, you're going to, generally speaking, you're probably going to take smaller bites, chew more thoroughly, and take your time, because you're just not going to want to shove a bunch of volume in your food into your stomach very quickly. And a lot of people just eat too darn fast. We because of schedule issues, or because we're trying to maintain a conversation, or we just get in the habit of eating so quickly. Really check yourself. Most people will not put the fork down between bites, and don't necessarily swallow their food, and then wait long as they just chewed their last bite before they have their next bite. And so what that tends to follow from that is that we just eat too much food too fast, and your body doesn't have a chance to register that a sense of satiation. And we really want the blood sugar to be able to. First of all, we want the blood sugar is pretty stable going into the meal or snack, but we also want to eat slowly enough so that our body responds, so that we slow down or stop eating when we don't really need any more calories or carbohydrates or food volume at that point. Okay, so so the first, outside the issue of the water, and I'll touch on water again because another Lean Onliner asked about water substitutes. I'll get to that in a moment. Okay, I was asked about pre-made meals, and the member mentioned that he even has pre-made salads. I'm fine with those bagged, mixed greens, or there's one Safeway sells with shredded cabbage and shaved Brussels sprouts and some kale and some other stuff, and I'm all great for that. I usually toss the dressing because a lot of times it's a sweet dressing, or I don't necessarily know what's in it, and there are certain dressings that I like, and I don't like a ton of dressing anyway on my salads. So is it more expensive? Yeah, it's more expensive because somebody went through the work of chopping up all those things and putting them together. So I just, I I consider that I'm paying for the labor of not having to do it myself. So I'm fine with paying the extra money for a particular type of salad that I like, that I don't want to buy the bulk quantities and use a third of it and have the rest rot, or go through and spend a half an hour to make up my salad. So I'm actually fine with those, as long as there aren't any preservatives or anything kind of suspect thrown in along with that. Now, so I'm actually fine with that. I do, as I mentioned, or as I posted earlier in the week, I do have 3 kinds of salads that I put together that are very different from each other in terms of taste and texture. And I like as much variety in my foods as possible, especially vegetables, because I find, for myself as well as for others, if I don't have a lot of variety, I just don't want to eat a lot of that food group. So the more variety you have, the more palatable it'll be for you, and the more enthusiastic you'll be about eating that food group. So I'm fine with pre-made salads. Please take another look at the post I did, I think it was a couple of days ago, about salads, and try each of those 3 salads, unless you just think one or more of those would just turn you off completely. But look at the ones that I mentioned that I get when I'm out too, because they're very different from the ones that I make. And I'm not a big salad guy. As I mentioned, I have a salad maybe once a week or so, very rarely twice a week, and just as often I'll go 2 weeks without a salad. So but in terms of expanding that more broadly, if you're not a cook, and I'm not much of a cook, I really like, there are several entrees that I like from Trader Joe's, and I posted some, and I'll post more. Frozen entrees or refrigerated entrees. And then Whole Foods, if you have a Whole Foods near you, there's a ton of really good food in the prepared section of Whole Foods. And a lot of that stuff, if you got like a veggie lasagna or something like that, or a bean salad, something like that, a lot of those things we'll keep for a couple of days, or if it's a hot entree, we'll heat up great. So some you might even want to get big quantities of. So if it's like roasted vegetables, or meat. With vegetables, like a stir fry or something like that, a lot of times you can freeze those. Just get a bunch and freeze part of it, and then have it there for available to yourself later. He asked about slow cooker recipes. I will show you some things that I do with a slow cooker. The things that I like to make in the slow cooker are beef stew, split pea soup, and there's a chicken. It's sort of like a chicken cacciatore thing that I make with drumsticks, thighs, frozen chopped spinach. Safeway has a mango lime salsa, so I'll use like a half of the large jar of that, and fire roasted crushed tomatoes, and then I just salt and pepper and use some poultry seasonings, and it is fantastic. So you can serve it over quinoa or brown rice or something like that, but if I have it in the evening, and usually I don't put it over anything, I'll eat that just by itself, just the veggies and the protein. What else? Do I do anything else in the crock pot? I can't think of anything offhand. Again, I'll do like a bean soup. Yeah, like I'll get the bean soup packages and do. I'm big on, as I mentioned in the soup posting, kind of hodgepodge, what have you type soups that are a base of roasted garlic, pasta sauce, and vegetable. I think I said vegetable broth, but I meant vegetable stock. And then I just season that usually with I'll do onions and garlic and some salt and pepper. And that makes a great base, and I just throw in I'll put in chicken apple sausage, or even some tofu if it's for my daughter, if my daughter's going to share with me, beans, and a lot of frozen mixed vegetables and frozen chopped spinach. And I make a ton of it, and usually I can freeze half of it and still get a couple of meals in that week out of it. So crock pot's a really great option for that kind of thing. Again, you can make twice as much as you think that you're going to eat that week and freeze half of it right off the bat. So that's a great way to address that issue. So hopefully that's helpful. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, I will introduce many sort of grab and go things or very easy prep things, because that's all I do. And Melissa makes some really delicious things that are not that technically difficult, but I'm too lazy to do them, so I enjoy that. I get the benefit of that. Okay, so vegetables for kids. Some of you guys have kids, and honestly, even if you don't, you should eat the way that is going to be ideal for you in terms of health and wellness and fit your lifestyle and your preferences and all that kind of stuff, but is in the interest of nutrient density, vitamins, minerals, fiber, and protein. Vitamins, minerals, fiber, and protein. So if you have a significant other, roommate, siblings, whatever, but especially kids, the best way to help influence them to make better choices is for you to make those choices yourself, and just to try to minimize the crap food that you have in the house, because I hear the thing about the fast food, but chopped up carrot sticks, hard-boiled eggs, grilled chicken breasts, I'll grill beef patties, tofu, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, frozen mixed vegetables, and then a lot of these dishes that I'm talking about where you just make a bunch and keep some in the refrigerator and freeze the other part. You can make it fast. I do not prepare anything that takes a long time to prepare, so it's just a matter of realigning your thinking towards other things that are fast and maybe require a little bit of prep, but you get a lot of mileage out of them. Okay, so vegetable option. I'm going to post a couple of lunches that I made, one I'll post later tonight or tomorrow, that I made for Aaron, my 14-year-old, today, and then I just kind of switch back and forth between a couple of configurations, and I don't make little salads and make sandwiches for her and everything. Her food is modular, and it works out great, and it's healthy. So I'll post one later today, and then another one maybe early next week, so you get an idea of what I do for that. But basically, she eats the same kinds of snacks that I do, with the exception of some more not quite so as healthy foods, but always insist that she finish her lunch first, and then that she leave room for dinner. And if she's not hungry for dinner, then I just know I got to dial back whether I let her have a snack or how much. And it can be a battle with kids, and so the thing is, you remove a lot of the leverage and the weapons by only having the food in the house that's healthy for you and for your kids, and maybe going through some push-pull and some rough times, but understand, the kids will gravitate towards the highly processed, refined grains, high sugar, preservatives, that kind of food, if they get used to it. But I hate to sound cliche, but those foods are in a sense like a drug, because they're so predictable in the way that they affect your body and your blood sugar spikes and drops, that it's self-perpetuating, and the body is very accustomed to adapting to high levels of sodium, fat, and sugar, and it's harder to back away from that than to condition yourself to tolerate more of it, and it's just a real dangerous rabbit hole to get caught in. So one of the suggestions that I'm going to make for vegetables for the kids is serve them along with fruit. So maybe if you're going to do carrot sticks, do apple slices too. If you're going to do cherry tomatoes, are kind of in between the sweetness, and a lot of kids like that. If you're going to do snap peas, maybe, or celery sticks with nut butter, do the ants on a log, throw the raisins on there too. or maybe some tangerine slices or something like that, and maybe even some nuts, some roasted mixed nuts, because that just provides a little, just like for you, the kids want variety, and it provides a little bit of, a contrast with taste and texture. Okay, another one, light yogurt versus, so a ranch versus hummus for raw veggies. Yeah, I like hummus better, and Trader Joe's has a few different kinds of hummus, so yeah, try that. That's healthier than the ranch dressing. But if they don't have globs and globs of ranch dressing, if they're eating more vegetables because they're dipping in a little ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing or something like that, that's actually better than no veggies. Okay, Greek yogurt. One Lean Onliner said that her kids don't like the texture. The Greek yogurt, and I like Fage, F-A-G-E, Greek yogurt. It's the higher protein of the Greek yogurts, and it is thicker. It's definitely more dense. I get the full fat, unsweetened, and I'll add a little honey or a little jelly to sweeten it, but I sweeten it to taste, and it's not with artificial sweeteners. So you can control that. So that's a nice way to enjoy that. And if you want to thin it out a little bit, just add a little bit of milk and stir that up in it. And that you can thin it to your preferred viscosity. Okay. All right. Light yogurt versus artificial sweetener. I really want you to take a quick, close look at the yogurts. They have very different ingredients. The ones that are zero fat and artificial sweetener, I'm not a big fan of those. We can go into why on a separate thread if you like. But that's the one I like. I like the Fage Greek yogurt and Oiko. You're just better off avoiding going with the full fat plain, and look at the protein content. But the Fage is about 20 plus per serving, and that's triple some of them. So that makes it a really great protein source and a great vitamin D and calcium source as well. Okay, vegetable options other than raw vegetables and salads, which the person who put that question forward is not a fan of either all the raw vegetables or the salads. Okay, I like roasted vegetables, and I mentioned, if you go back and you look at my list of preferred vegetables and preferred prep methods, I really love roasted vegetables, and so you can just roast a bunch and then put some aside, and they zap in the microwave nicely usually. And if you want to recreate that freshly roasted, taste and texture, put them in the toaster oven. You have a little bit longer, or you can put them in the microwave and then toast them at about 450, 500 for a few minutes, and then you'll get that nice crisp exterior again. Okay, I love roasted vegetables. I'll put zucchini, peas, spinach, broccoli. I'll put vegetables in pasta sauces, and have that over pasta, or I like them in soups. Obviously, I'll stuff a bunch of vegetables in soups. Scrambles, veggie scrambles with eggs, and I do whole eggs. I don't do just egg whites. And again, I want to make sure that if you're eating really clean, a lot of produce, that you're getting enough fat as well. So that's like nuts, nut butter, avocado, and even some cheeses is good. And smoothies, I use frozen chopped spinach in smoothies, and before, when I was living alone, or just with the kids, there were times where I would have, I just get like a stir fry variety, and just a little bit of teriyaki sauce, or even just the stir fry sauce, just a little bit, and with some salt and pepper. And I like Mrs. Dash seasoning in that tagine. That gives a nice little kick too. So just stir fries are great too, and that's a different taste texture than roasted vegetables, and certainly different than raw vegetables. Okay, I'm about halfway through. Hang in there. What to eat before a workout? Okay, here's the deal, guys. If you are eating 3 hours before the workout, have a balanced meal with produce, protein, and maybe some carbohydrates if you're planning on doing a really hard workout of 45 minutes or more. Because you probably are going to need about 450 to 600 or maybe even a little bit more if you're bigger and stronger and work out harder, to get you through the workout. Okay, so chew thoroughly, take your time, drink water before, all the standard things. So if that's 3 hours, it's a regular meal. If it's 2 hours, I would have an easily digestible protein like yogurt or milk, tofu, something like that, something texturally soft, cottage cheese, and fruit. Okay, so like a carbohydrate protein mix plus fruit, not vegetables, because I want you to have a little bit more sugar if it's within a couple of hours of the workout. If it's right before the workout, I would say a less texturally dense, higher water content, higher sugar fruit like grapes or a ripe peach or plum, tangerine, something like that, melon, berries, right before the workout, and then chew really thoroughly, and then just be aware that the more food you have going into the workout, the more you're asking the blood in your body to both go to the muscles, the oxygenated blood to go to the muscles, and to go to the digestive system, the stomach and the intestines, to try to do its thing. And it's hard for both the digestive system and the cardiovascular system to have enough blood to go around for all that stuff. And a lot of times you just kind of feel cruddy doing both. So try not to overdo it. Okay. If it's first thing in the morning or within an hour of getting up, if I don't wake up hungry, I don't have any food. I might sip a latte during the workout, but I usually don't, or it's even some vegetable juice, but I don't usually have calories while I'm working out if I work out first thing in the morning. Okay. We're getting close, folks. Okay, tired, convenience. Okay, so what if you get home, you just don't want to prep, and you don't have food, many options that you've already prepared, and this person mentioned mental obstacles because you just kind of get worn down, and I don't want to make a decision that's going to be really tough to decide. Oh, it's this or it's that. I mean, sorry, going with something healthy versus whatever's here. Okay. I've kind of already indirectly addressed that, but besides having just food on hand, frozen food entrees that you've purchased, or the frozen portions of food that you made, maybe like a soup or a stew or something like that, or even prepped food that you got and you froze, or you have the second half of what you didn't eat from the prepared foods from like Trader Joe's or from Whole Foods or someplace like that. Then if you go out, just bear in mind that most restaurants want you to be more than satisfied. So they give you lots of sugar, lots of salt, and big portion sizes that will satisfy a hungry 250-pound man. So what I usually do is I'll get apps. If I can get apps with vegetables and like a meat app, and I will take small bites, chew slowly, and take my time. And that's what I recommend, just recreating that at home, maybe putting together modularly maybe zapping some frozen mixed vegetables, throwing some sunflower seeds or raw mixed nuts on that, and maybe having a chicken breast with that. That's maybe you grilled 3 or 4 chicken breasts at the beginning of the week, or more. Maybe you're just doing it right then. But it's not a lot of work. It just you have to take 5 to 10 minutes to do that. But that's what you do. And if you're already behind the 8 ball, your blood sugar is already low, then have some fruit. Back to what we were talking about before the workout, right before the workout. High water content, higher sugar, fruit, or even a little bit of juice to take the edge off so that you're not voracious by the time that you eat. Okay? Hopefully that's helpful. How to up your veggies? Yeah, more variety, okay? And lean towards convenience. So as I mentioned before, I put spinach in smoothies and pasta sauces and scrambled eggs. I do frozen mixed vegetables, zap it in the microwave, put a little butter and some of that Mrs. Dash, something like that. Raw veggies dipped in hummus, and I do salads and soups. So variety, okay? As much variety as you can. And then find the things that you like that are kind of your favorites. Just make sure to rotate them so that you stay excited about them. Okay, and the last person's entries, she hates the grocery store. Me too. So again, I have frozen mixed vegetables, frozen peas, vegetable juice. She mentioned eating out portion sizes. I addressed that. Yeah, if you're going to eat out, try to do apps, okay? And if you get an entree, there's nothing, you're not contractually obligated to eat the whole thing. Eat a little bit, wait, see if you're still hungry. Go home when you're still hungry. Take the food back. Wait 15 or 20 minutes. Are you still hungry? Hungry, not bored. You're still hungry? Have half as much as you had at the restaurant. Wait another 15 minutes. It's very unlikely you're still going to be hungry after that, as opposed to sitting there and gobbling up the plate so that you can hand the clean plate back to the waiter or bus person. Okay, I mentioned frozen entrees. I'm big on Trader Joe's frozen entrees, but there's some good ones at Safeway as well, and Whole Foods, as I mentioned before. Frozen meals, homemade, we talked about that, quick prep. Yeah, so I covered the rest of those issues. So I'm sorry, I know this is my longest coaching video ever, but I wanted to be comprehensive. Thank you so much for all of these questions. You don't have to watch this all in one shot. I should have said this earlier. Take the time between today and the rest of the weekend, and I'll put this in the comments, to watch the video. Hopefully I answered all your questions. Maybe that brought up more questions. Please share those with me. I want to address all of your issues, all of your concerns. So happy about the level of engagement and how much you guys are supporting each other and sharing your meals. I couldn't really be more pleased, and you guys you've made it a great week for me. I want to be of service, and I want to help, and you're helping me help you and help others. So thank you, and have a great weekend. And Monday, I will expand on the foundation that we're starting this week. Take care.